All right, what's up, everyone? This is a new episode of Sports Harder. Bum, 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 bum. I am your host, Maddie Lukewarm Ice, and as always, my co-host is Chris, the champion Gorilla Binder.
What's up? Just have to rock the belt.
Yeah,
Rub it in
gotta
everybody's
mention that.
face.
Gotta throw that in there. That thing's gotta be like hanging somewhere, like in your house next time I come over, just like on a mantle or something. Just
Dude, I live in a split entry. I don't have a mantle. It'll be in here somewhere.
It's in his bedroom, so as soon as he wakes up, that's the first thing he sees. Reminds himself he's a champion.
No, I just look over at my wife for that. I just look over at my wife for that one.
Fair enough. Get some points, dude. Get some points.
Well, as always, we have La America here with us as well, joining us for another great episode. So we appreciate it, Larry. So we already, I don't even know where to point, wherever it's going to put you, Larry. So
he's up there for you. You're on the bottom.
There for me.
We're all over the place.
There you go. Exactly. Well, we got a fun-packed full episode. We already mentioned Chris and getting the belts. We've already posted stuff about that too. So next year is another year. We'll see how that goes. But congrats again. But this is the last time I'm going to mention it.
Until next year.
Until next year.
Hey, I just have to throw this out there. I made a prediction at the beginning of the year that I was going to win fantasy and win the belt, and that I was going to win the pick'em and win the pop bet.
That is true. You won by one whopping whole game on me.
Whether it's 1 point or 100 points, a win is a win.
Yeah, that is true. And your Raiders were dicks, and they could have just like ran the timeout, and then it would have been a tie, and then they both would have gotten in, and then me and you would have tied in the picks. But no, they had to kick a field goal at the end.
No, they actually came out. Rich Bisaccia came out and said, like he said in an interview, yeah, we were just going to let the clock run out. We were going to run a ball and just let the clock run out. Deal with the tie. It is what it is. But then they called the timeout, so we're like, screw it. Let's go for the first down.
Yeah, which would have been wild to think about. Like, I thought they were. Dude, there was 6 seconds. I was like, call timeout, kick a field goal. I bet on the Raiders to win. And so I'm like, okay, just call timeout, kick a field goal. Just make me some money. And the dude just kept ticking down. And then 2 seconds, Carr calls a timeout. I was like, oh, thank God.
Did you see the smile on his face when he did it too? It wasn't just.
Of course. Well, before we get into NFL playoff implications and the games that happened, the wins and get-ins and all that jazz, let's just start off with the college football playoff national championship. Alabama versus Georgia. It was on Monday night. Kind of started off very defensively, going into halftime, 6-9, I think it was. So Alabama was only up by 3. Alabama all year has kind of been a second half team. They've kind of just first half maybe not starting off so well, and then second half they would just steamroll and demolish. So I thought, oh, Alabama's going to come out and just do what Alabama does in the second half. And third quarter, still kind of a dud again. But then the fourth quarter, out of nowhere, Georgia's defense just like steps up and they make a bunch of plays. The crucial pick 6 at the end. The Heisman Trophy winner, Bryce Young, I think is his name for Alabama. He threw, I think, like 3 picks in that game. Heisman Trophy winners and national championships don't normally go hand in hand. It's kind of almost like a curse. It's not very often that the Heisman Trophy winner wins the national championship. I know a couple of them have, like Joe Burrow, and I think Trevor Lawrence might have done it one year too, but it's not very common. Were you guys, I guess, surprised that Georgia was able to step up in the end and finally get over the hump of Alabama, because they had lost to them like 4 or 5 straight games or something like that every time they met up?
No, their defense was amazing, and to have a coach that's got a 35-inch vertical that's as fat as he is, like that was awesome. Did you guys see that on the sideline?
Yes.
Like the it was one of the picks. The coach like jumped up and legit his feet were at like one of the corners on the sideline at his waist.
Yeah. I mean, and he was like yelling at the guy to go down, which I thought was funny. And the player was like, "Nah, I'm just gonna run it in." He kept on shouting, "Go down, go down!" And the player just kept on going and took it in for a pick six. So Georgia first national championship in what 40 years,
50, I thought.
50 years. So I mean, long freaking time coming.
Chris, you were able to watch that championship game, weren't you? The 150 years.
No, I was still on my dad's balls.
Oh, okay. I just know you just throwing it out there.
Yeah, nice try. Not 50. I'll be 40 in a week.
40, 50. It's all the same, dude.
No, it's not. Right now, it's just my body breaking down. When I turn 50, it's my wiener that breaks down.
Well,
help for that.
The playoffs this year for the national championship were in a way kind of disappointing because it was just Alabama and Georgia in the end, both SEC teams, and Cincinnati and Michigan couldn't do anything in the big
They
time
didn't
moment.
Show up.
So
neither one of them even showed up.
I don't really watch a lot of college football because I don't like it. The rankings really bother me enough to where I just don't really pay that much attention. How is Alabama ranked higher than Georgia when they have more losses? That just doesn't make any sense to me. Georgia was what, 3 or 5, and Bama was 2 or something like that. Like, how does that make sense when you've lost more games? How are you still ranked higher?
Georgia was 2, I think,
No, Georgia only lost 1, and that was to Alabama in the SEC championship
what was their
game.
rank though?
Well, Georgia.
They were ranked 3.
Alabama.
Yeah, Georgia was ranked 3. Bama was 1 because Michigan was 2 and Cincinnati was 4.
But it doesn't make sense if you win more games. Shouldn't you have a higher rank?
Yeah, but it's based off of the type of teams that you play. Like Cincinnati didn't play any really top ranked teams, and Michigan beat Michigan. No, they didn't beat Michigan State, but they beat Penn State, who was ranked in the top 10. They beat Ohio State, which was in the top 5 at the time. So I mean, if you're beating those top tier teams, you deserve more credit than a Cincinnati team that's beating people that aren't even in the same conference. So
yeah, so if you beat Alabama, that's better than beating BYU.
Yeah, basically. So I mean, it's one of those things where I'm glad that they have the top 4, but I still think they need to expand it out a little bit more. Hopefully give some of these other schools a better chance. In a way, it's almost getting annoying that Alabama's in it every year, or Georgia's in it every year. It would be nice to see more parity and see some differences, but it's harder in college because if you're a high school student and you're going to college and you're a top ranked high school football player, you have a choice between going to Alabama or North Carolina. It's you're going to go to Alabama because 90% of their people get drafted into the NFL. So it's just why wouldn't you pick Alabama then over North Carolina? It's just you're always going to do that. So I feel like it's always going to be lopsided no matter what because of spotlight that certain colleges get, and as well the ability to get drafted into the NFL is increased at least by going to one of those better schools. So,
see, I think the way that the rankings should work, and the way the college football playoffs should work, the CFP, the way I feel that they should play is every conference, whoever wins is obviously the top ranked. They rank them that way. Whoever wins their conference championship. And then the playoffs are the winners of all the conference championships for D1.
Yeah.
You don't want to throw D2 teams in there because they'll get stomped into the ground. That's not even pretty. But make it so like winning the Mountain West Conference and winning the Pac-12 actually means something.
Yeah.
Rather than, oh, well, you're SEC or ACC or Big Ten, you're the only ones that count.
Yeah,
just my
I
opinion.
agree. That would definitely I think help with more parity and stuff like that. At least I would hope so. But we'll see for next year. It'll be another year. Georgia can ride this, and I feel like Georgia in a way is going to kind of be like LSU when they had Joe Burrow. Like they made that huge run because they had those top players, but then all of them went to the NFL, and then the next year they were garbage. So I feel like Georgia's defense, they have already said 10 of them are going to go in the top 10. They're just the Georgia's defense, everyone's going to be taking them in the draft this year. So they're not going to have that good of a defense like they did this year, and I think it'll just hurt them extremely for next year. So I feel like they're going to be like an LSU where they just drop off the map after winning a national championship.
I read something today that because about the playoffs and the championship game, that the championship game hasn't been good since Vince Young played in it.
Yeah.
When you look back, since what was that, 2004 or something like that?
When Texas was in it, yeah.
Yeah, Texas versus what was it, Arizona? You had Reggie Bush
USC.
USC.
You got Reggie Bush. You got Vince Young. You actually had star power and actual good teams. But since then, it's just been Bama, LSU, Georgia, your top teams that are in there every year. Clemson's in there, Ohio State. That's why I just don't watch a lot of college football. I just don't care for it because you always know who's going to make it to the end of the game, and it's just kind of pointless. Alabama top 5 every year. There's nothing you can do about
it. And the Pac-12 gets no love whatsoever.
No,
they don't. Or Utah has beaten Alabama. Oregon beat Ohio State. Utah went toe-to-toe with Ohio State.
Yes.
Pac-12 has strong teams. I think Arizona went toe-to-toe with Georgia this year. And, Georgia ended up beating them, but they still went toe-to-toe with them. The Pac-12 is almost as strong as the SEC and the Big Ten.
I agree.
But it's, you're not SEC or Big Ten, so you don't count for shit. It's annoying.
Well, true. I mean, like Larry said, you need to get that star power, though, again. The Pac-12 was on the map when Marcus Mariota was there. And, him being a big star. USD, when Reggie Bush was there, they were big. You got to get those big names in the Pac-12 again to be able to get them to be relevant again and have them be considered for these games because they want those big stars in it. So they'll just put them in there because they're people want to see Reggie Bush or people want to see Marcus Mariota.
So when Utah beat Alabama in the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl, right? Name one player from Utah that went into the draft. Name one player. He wasn't playing for that game.
He didn't play?
No, that was Brian Johnson that played.
Oh.
The Fiesta Bowl.
So not Alex Smith then. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, the Fiesta Bowl was Brian Johnson. The Utes had almost nobody that was big name that went into the NFL out of that squad.
Alex Smith has been the biggest name to come out of the Utes in a very long time. Possibly.
Eric Weddle, Steve Smith.
Yeah, Eric Weddle, because I guess he is relevant now.
Steve Smith came out of Utah, and then
that's true. Yeah.
We've had some good players come out of Utah, but
yeah, that is true. Well, we'll see for next year with the pre-rankings and where people put all the teams and whatnot. I feel like the top four kind of shifted a lot this year. Like a team would get in like Iowa and then they would lose like the very next week. So we'll see how the top four kind of shifts around next year and how often it mixes up again. Because there for a while it kind of, once the top four was done or whatever, once they had the top four, that was kind of it. They stayed the same throughout the whole year. But this year it was a lot of like up and downs for a lot of teams. So, because they always want undefeated people up there. And if you lose a game, you're kind of SOL most of the time, unless you're like Big Ten or SEC. So
I will want to do one shout out though that was actually kind of cool. For the first time ever, BYU, University of Utah, and Utah State were all in the AP poll top 25 for the first time ever.
Hey, there you go. Awesome. All right. Well, moving on to, of course, NFL news. We'll get into the Black Monday of NFL coaching after we talk about the games, because I think you kind of need to talk about the games first before you get into all the coaching fire. But so obviously a lot of big games to determine a lot of stuff. Starting with the Rams and the Niners. The Rams lose in overtime. They kind of gave that game away. They had the lead with an amazing catch from Cooper Kupp in the end zone where he was freaking double covered and he was still able to catch it and get 2 feet on the back pylon. So just a crazy, great play to end his Triple Crown reign that happened this year. And Steve Smith and is it Shannon Sharp? He was one of the ones that was Triple Crown as well, right?
No,
they did
Triple Crown.
No, it was Jerry Rice, Randy Moss, and Steve Smith. They're the only other 3 that have done it.
You look real comfy in that recliner. It makes me want to go sit in mine. Just throwing that out there.
I love my recliner.
But they sent videos out to Cooper Kupp to congratulate him on being the new inductee into the Triple Crown Club. He wasn't able to break the receiving yards record or the receptions record, but I still think it was one hell of a season. He did some amazing things, and I still think he deserves the MVP. We'll see. A lot of people are now saying Tom Brady because Bruce Arians is pushing for it. But we'll see when it comes to that. But anyways, the Rams losing to the 49ers got the 49ers in. It guaranteed that they were in. That made the Saints out. And bumped the Rams down from the number 2 seed to the number 4 seed. So I was very upset about it because I'd rather be playing the Eagles than the Cardinals. That's for sure. But we can kind of talk about that game when it comes to it. And then, of course, Chris can go over his game with the Raiders and the Chargers. We kind of mentioned it already a little bit, but you can kind of go over some stuff with that of how you felt about it.
Well, I was there, so I felt excited. That's why I don't have much of a voice right now, is because I was screaming. It was awesome because I got my wife to wear a Raiders jersey. So I bought a jersey in the pro shop. I bought Darren Waller. I wanted Hunter Renfrow, but they had 200 jerseys come in and they were sold out in 30 seconds for Hunter Renfrow. Yeah, I was a little sad about that. So I bought a Waller. I was like, can't go wrong with Darren Waller. So Jeanette wore that, and she was yelling Raiders the whole time. So she was cheering for him. Just for clarity, she is a Packers fan. So, yeah, there's that. But I got her cheering for the Raiders. The energy there was amazing. The game was amazing. Josh Jacobs broke his own his career high for rushing yards in a single game. He had 132 rushing yards. Derek Carr only had 250 yards passing, but he didn't make any mistakes. He didn't throw any picks. And just watching the defense for the Raiders getting after Herbert was amazing. And watching so Keenan Allen was talking shit before the game. He was saying stuff like, "Oh, these Raiders ain't shit. I own them. I'll tear them apart." Dude, he got shut down by a rookie corner. Nate Hobbs shut him down. He had 4 receptions for like 34 yards. That was it. But no, like it was exciting. Like you could feel the energy, you could feel the team's energy. It was just an all around great game. Like it ended in overtime, last second in overtime, could have been a tie. The Raiders have come out, like a couple of the players came out and said, "Look, we were just going to run the clock out. We weren't going to take a knee, but we're just going to let the clock run out." And then your coach went and took a timeout with 39 seconds left. Like, how would you do that? So Brandon Staley's been getting a lot of shit on social media about it. But yeah, he took the timeout, and so they came out, and Jacobs was like, "Screw it, I'm going to run the ball." Handed off to Jacobs. He got 12 yards, got the first down. Then Derek Carr, smiling, took the timeout with 2 seconds left, kicked the field goal. Daniel Carlson is a monster.
Yeah, so with
I want to add on the
that
Daniel
win,
Carlson thing. It's a weird stat for a kicker to not miss a field goal. And
he hasn't missed one at home all year.
He has not missed in that new stadium in 2 straight years. He has not missed the field goal kick.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
He's missed 4 field goals in 2 years. He missed 2 last year and 2 this year. And all 4 of them were on the road. All 4 of them were on the road.
Never missed at Raider Stadium.
that's
the Oakland Stadium. Did you not see that? ESPN put the Oakland Raiders versus the Cincinnati Bengals.
You know how many people have made that mistake this year? Like I've made that mistake on here. You know,
they're all going to be. They're Oakland. It's just how it is. Played there for the last 30 years. You're Oakland.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. The game was interesting as well, just because I'm pretty sure at least I've never seen a team convert that many 4th downs in a game before. Like, even on 4th and 20, like Herbert freaking throws a touchdown to make it
to Jared Cook.
Yeah.
6 4th downs.
Yeah.
And, like I said earlier, I bet on the Raiders to win. But I was talking to a buddy this week about it, and the Raiders defense sucks.
I mean, they were good. They got them to 4th down. They just couldn't stop them on 4th down.
So they're
the 26th ranked defense.
They're good. They're a good defense when they all play together. That's the problem that they have, is you either have a really good pass rush or you have a really good backfield. Like they never play together.
Agreed. But what's wild is, so that game was over. It was like the Rams game. It was over. And then all of a sudden, I don't know what the Rams do, because the Rams never coast, and I just felt like they started coasting. The Raiders, the play calling just went to just absolute dog shit. They weren't really moving the ball, and they just kind of got just stagnant for a while until, roughly the 4th quarter. And, I've been seeing people talking about how great Herbert, how great he's been, how good he can be. But what's wild is, if you throw a ball 60-plus times in a game, and you only have 300 yards, are you really that good against the defense that is the 26th ranked defense in the NFL? And you got through for 300-plus yards on 64 pass attempts? That's a crazy stat. The Raiders should have never been in overtime. That game should have never gone to overtime. The Raiders should have destroyed the Chargers. They had, 3 picks? Herbert threw 3 picks. Yeah. And the game was so horrible that it turned out to be one of the greatest games ever played, simply because of the playoff implications that it had on multiple other games. I mean, they tied. The Steelers are out, which Big Ben has only lost, I think, 2 games where he, playoff to get in games. He's only lost twice in his whole career. And I just wasn't overly thrilled, because if the Raiders play like that this weekend against the Bengals, it's a wrap. They cannot, if you get a lead like that, you got to put up 40 on them. Don't stop scoring. And that's where I think the Raiders are going to struggle with the Rams in Arizona. That Arizona sucks.
So Max Crosby was asked in the post-game interview. They asked Max Crosby, like, how in the world did they have 6 straight fourth downs that they converted? How did they convert 9 fourth downs in a game? Like, that's unheard of.
Was it 2 touchdowns? Was it 2 of the fourth downs touchdown conversions?
One of them was.
Was it one for like 25 yards out?
Yeah.
Couldn't believe it.
Double cover. They asked him why or like what happened, and he was like, honestly, we're at the end of the fourth quarter. We've already played 90 snaps. We're fucking tired. He's like, there's only so much you can do. Like, honest to God, he's like, I was still getting pressure. Yannick was still getting pressure. We were still getting pressure up front. But it's so tiring having to chase a mobile quarterback constantly. And when you have 90 plays, like, what are you supposed to do? Are you not supposed to be tired? Are you not supposed to give up those yards? Like, it just happens.
But that's the thing, is they didn't give up a lot of yards. That's what's wild. Like I said, with Herbert throwing 60-plus passes, you would expect a 400 or 500-yard game. Not 3.
And they shut down Eckler too.
That's what so you may have been on the field for 90 plays, but they did their job until it was time to do your job. Like, 4 conversions in the fourth quarter that would have ended the game? It just was, It was horrible. It was just a horrible, and I get they're tired. I can't go out and play 90 minutes. I'll be honest. I walk up my stairs, I'm exhausted. I don't want to even walk up the other set of stairs, go to my room. Got to take a nap first, but like, that is your job. Your job is to win and to make the plays. And that's one thing with Max Crosby. Here's a huge comparison that I was looking at earlier. Max Crosby, does not get the credit he deserves. Joey Bosa, I feel, is a very overrated player. I think he's a great player, don't get me wrong. But once
his brother's better.
Well, not only that, but once Joey gets hit in the mouth, he's done. Like, once he's not getting constant pressure, you shut him down, you knock him over one play, he just kind of stops the rest of the game. And that's one thing what Vegas did was their O-line, which I wrote these down because I was actually pretty impressed by the stats of the Raiders. Their O-line is ranked 28th. They are 28th in rushing, last in takeaways, 32nd in possession, 29th wide receiver group, and the 11th ranked offense. That is the Raiders. And you have some very good players on that defense. The fact that they're ranked that low is crazy to me. But Max Crosby still is getting pressure. 6? He had 2 sacks. He had 6 quarterback hits, and I think it was like 10-plus hurries.
11.
11 Bosa had 2 pressures, and I think 1 quarterback hit the entire game. That's 5 quarters of football, and you're supposed to be one of the greatest defensive ends in the game, and you didn't do anything.
I think Derek Carr got sacked once.
Yeah. Maybe.
And Herbert got sacked 5 times. Like, Herbert was being rushed. And to throw this out there, Max Crosby and Yannick Ngakoue are the highest. They have the most pressures on quarterbacks as a duo in history.
Yep.
Like, in history. And Max Crosby has the most solo hurries in history. He had 104 hurries this year.
Yeah.
And that is the most in history. The closest one was Michael Strahan at 99 when he got his 22 and a half sacks.
Yeah, did you guys see that too? On a whole other note, that Pittsburgh tried getting the NFL to investigate T.J. Watt's sack to give him the single season sack leader. He had a 0.1% hit on whoever they played, on Lamar or whoever it was, and they wanted to give him a sack, but the NFL is like, no, that's not going to happen. So I thought it was kind of funny. That what was really weird is that I thought too is, so I'm going to throw Peyton Manning in there because of what he did, his last season in Denver. Or I think it was his first season where he had over 5,000 yards. He had the yards and the touchdowns.
5,500 yards, 55 touchdowns.
The extra games this season, nobody even came close to his records. which is wild to think about. And Cooper Kupp, I think, was the only one who actually came close to breaking records. I think he is the only player this year, other than Rodgers, breaking Rodgers' records. Dude's phenomenal. I mean, I don't think he's MVP, but there could be a case made for him. But with Cooper Kupp, it was the only person in the NFL this season to actually come close to actually breaking a record, and still was shy. It was a very wild year, but I don't know, man. I feel like your team's kind of just let me down. I mean, I did make money on the Raiders. The Rams kind of let me down a whole lot because the Niners in the playoffs. I think this Niners team is going to be very scary in the playoffs. So it's going to be. God, I got my team's is on the couch this week, so I can root for whoever I want.
Well, I'm gonna laugh when the Niners beat the shit out of the Cowboys.
I can only hope, dude.
We'll definitely break down like each game and how we feel about it, and we'll kind of do our playoff picks, which will just be one lock. You just get one lock for the playoffs, and that's it. But we'll put in our playoff picks and do that and break down each game and how we think it'll shake out. But let's get into the Black Friday for coaching.
Black
so
Monday.
do you want to start off with your team, Larry?
Oh, dude, I'm so pumped.
Oh, he was so excited about that.
Dude, you have no idea how excited I was, because simply Vic Fangio, what he has done with the Denver defense has been nothing short of amazing. Denver finished in the top 3 in defense this year and had a losing record. That hasn't happened. And the last time this happened was like in the 70s, 80s. It's been years since it's ever happened. Like probably 30 plus, 40 plus years. But he's shown, I mean, his first season that I get it. You're fresh to a new team. You're a defensive coordinator. You got to come in. You're trying to get used to a system. But his first year showed that he can't win games. He's horrible with clock management. When he doesn't like a player, he just talks mad shit about him and throws him under the bus. Constantly did that with Drew Lock this year, who surprisingly didn't play bad against Kansas City. But Pat Shurmur sucked in New York with the Giants. He shouldn't have been offered a job as an offensive coordinator, head coach. He shouldn't be offered a job at all. He's horrible. He's awful. He shouldn't be a coach. Our special teams guy could have went either way, but I'm pretty happy with what we're doing. I just want Kellen Moore or was it Eric Bieniemy from the Chiefs?
Bieniemy, yeah.
They got 10 coaches they want to interview right now. And they're trying to get Sean McVay's assistant, which is the most coveted guy in the NFL for some reason. Fucking Sean McVay sneezed on the dude at Starbucks, and apparently the Patriots wanted to become a defensive coordinator. It was wild. But I think just because you coach next to Sean McVay does not mean you know how to coach football. Josh McDaniels was with Bill Belichick for 15 years, goes to Denver, loses, does nothing.
Yeah. I mean, they're looking at like Patricia. The Bengals head coach right now, and he was with McVay, and now look at the Bengals after 2 years.
The Bengals are doing well. I mean, their offense, and so I get what they're saying, but for me, Kellen Moore is the most, besides Eric Bieniemy, I feel like Kellen Moore, offensive mind-wise, is a genius. What he's done with that Dallas offense, and I'm a huge Kellen Moore fan. He played at Boise State, which is my college. He was a great college player, mediocre in the NFL when he played, but as a coach, the dude has been phenomenal. I mean, the Cowboys have the number 1 offense in the NFL again. He's been. And that's one thing my team is lacking. Denver is lacking. I shouldn't say my team. I don't own them yet. But they're lacking offensive plays. Yeah, I said yet. Don't worry.
That's the key word.
Yeah, cryptocurrencies, dude. I'm in the pot somewhere to buy them. But I think he would fit and actually could change Denver's offense and actually get them to put up points and move the ball. Eric Bieniemy he's the defensive coordinator. We've had a few defensive coaches come into Denver and have not been able to do much on offense. And I mean, the last person I think that did decent as a defensive coordinator was Wade Phillips, who came in as a head coach and had a pretty okay year. Or no, he went from head coach to defensive coordinator. And John Fox, But yeah, no, I'm pretty pumped. I'm happy they got fired. Now I'm excited to see what's going to happen. Hopefully, we bring in somebody new and somebody actually worth a damn. So
I have a question for you. If you got Kellen Moore as your head coach, and he's handling your offense, would it be a bad idea for him to bring Vic Fangio in as the defensive coordinator because he's done great with the defense?
no, not at all. And I'm cool with our defensive coordinator now. I mean, if you want to bring him in and bring Vic on as a defensive coordinator, I feel like anywhere Vic goes, look what he did when he was in Chicago. I mean, he took Chicago's defense and made it one of the best defenses in the NFL, and that's what he's done in Denver over the last 3 years. And I think that'd be a smart move. The other thing is trying to figure out who would be a good OC. That's I think the tough job right now is finding a good offensive coordinator that could actually be productive and not so ticky-tacky with play calls and actually try to win games. So it's gonna be interesting to see how Denver handles it. I mean, they got 10 coaches they're interviewing for the head coach spot. There's quite a few of them. Somebody was talking about Dan Quinn. I swear to God, Dan Quinn should. That just would be horrible. He's not a good coach. He's not. So.
Well, fair enough. Well, we'll see the route that all these teams go because let's keep going through the list. So Matt Nagy, Chicago Bears, he is let go. So the Bears will be looking for a new one as well. I feel like some of these coaches are just gonna float around to other teams. Someone will be like, "Well, you don't want them, I'll use them." Or even if they're in different positions, like an offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, or something like that. Let's see, and then
Joe Judge
fire Mike Zimmer. So the Vikings going a different route. This one was kind of surprising. The Dolphins fire Flores
Brian
Flores, yeah, after 3 seasons, and I thought he was actually doing really good.
That was the biggest surprise firing.
Did he ever have a losing season?
I don't think so.
I don't think he did.
I think it might have been. If he did, it was his first year.
Because he went 10 wins last year and then 9 wins this year. Like, I don't think he's had a losing season.
That's right. And it looks like the Bears are looking to interview him to bring him in. So he might be coaching the Bears.
One that surprised me was Joe Judge getting fired.
Why?
Like, he hasn't done much, but he hasn't been really – David Gettleman kind of stepped on his toes a lot. I saw Gettleman getting fired, but I figured they'd give Joe Judge another chance, because
at least one more year.
They've been plagued with injuries. They got who was supposed to be like the greatest running back ever in Saquon Barkley, and he can't stay healthy, and then they have Daniel Jones, who isn't a terrible quarterback, but he's not a great quarterback.
Yeah.
At least give him a chance to do some drafting, because Gettleman is the one that handled all the drafting. Like, Joe Judge didn't have a say in anything. Like, he didn't want Daniel Jones.
Yeah, and
why the hell would you take Daniel Jones?
That's usually the problem in the NFL. A lot of the coaches, it's a power struggle when they're not able to, make certain decisions that they want to make. Kind of like the Cowboys. Everybody knows that the owner, Jerry Jones, usually is the one making the draft picks. Like he doesn't get that say to the coaches or GM or whoever. So it can be a power struggle sometimes. And they were saying that was a big reason why the Dolphins fired Flores, because it was a power struggle. So maybe he was saying he wanted to do more with the team and they didn't want to give him that.
Which is wild to think about when you have somebody like Flores who's done really well with his picks and the team he took over. He took over not a very good team, and he made them a competitor. Because when he came in, I think it was Brady's last year in New England. So, and you don't really have an easy division to be a fresh head coach and be, going against the Patriots, even the Patriots right now. I mean, the Patriots last season were dog shit, but, the Patriots when he came in, you have the Bills who've been on the rise the last 3 years. Jacksonville just always sucked. Or not Jacksonville. Who's the other team in their division?
The Jets.
This is the Jets. So I mean, whatever. But for Flores to do what he did with that organization and the team was a very big surprise. Joe Judge doesn't surprise me. He's been there for a couple of years. I think his best season is like 5 wins, which, you can blame on the GM for the draft picks, but as a coach, that's your responsibility to get the players ready to play. And he just lacked that ability, I guess.
Yeah, it might not have transferred over from college to NFL. I mean, not everyone's able to do that. So
Urban Meyer.
Yeah. yeah.
You know, the Pouncey brothers were on that Gator team too.
Oh my gosh.
So I really I looked at this today. This is back when this all went down. Urban Meyer had allegedly like a domestic violence, a domestic abuse charge. You had Cam Newton, who apparently had some sort of domestic. You had racist ass Riley Cooper from the Philadelphia Eagles on that team. You had both Pouncey brothers. You had Aaron Hernandez. You had who's the other guy that I can't think of the name? He's still in the NFL. But he had was found with a dead body in his room. I mean, that Florida Gators team, guys, 30 for 30 needs to happen. That team was so wild. Like, it's just the Pouncey brothers. They were we'll just go. I fanboy over that shit, dude. It's just incredible to see who that team was.
He's gonna talk into existence one of these days, so he's just gonna keep going until it happens. But all right, well, before we get into the playoff picture and kind of breaking down the games and our picks, because that will take a good amount of our time. Just a quick thing for today, and we mentioned it earlier for the Rams that Eric Weddle being signed to the team for the playoffs. I don't know how I feel about it. He hasn't played for a couple of years. Like, he's older. Like, we'll see how much he can contribute. We'll see.
He's still got it. So I will say my boss actually knows Eric Weddle. Like his wife's family.
Eric Weddle, don't lie to people.
My boss, not you.
Oh, your wife. Okay.
No. My actual boss at my job. His wife is like friends with his wife or something like that. I don't know, but they know Eric Weddle. They've hung out with him and stuff. And like he was coaching like some peewee football out here in Utah because his son was playing there, and then he was like doing some other stuff with football. But my boss, like I messaged my boss today when I saw that, and I was like, dude, Eric Weddle's going back in the NFL. Like, he's coming out of retirement. He's like, bullshit. So I showed it to him, and he was like, dude, what the hell? And we were talking about, he is 3 years away from the Hall of Fame. Like, why would you come out of retirement? He's a 6-time All-Pro. He's a shoo-in for the Hall of Fame. Like,
he wants that ring, man.
Didn't he get one with Baltimore?
No. He wasn't on that squad.
He came the year after.
He joined up with Baltimore when they were peaking, and they had that really good defense with like Earl Thomas and him and like
Terrell Suggs and
they had the group, but they just couldn't get it done. Then he went to the Rams the year after we lost the Super Bowl, wasn't able to get it done, and then he retired. So trying to make another run at it again. We'll see how much that helps us, just because Jordan Fuller is out for the rest of the postseason with an ankle injury. So that really kind of hurts us on our defense, not having him. So some other people have to step up, and they brought in Eric Weddle for that reason as well too. So
how do you feel about Cam Akers? How do you feel he played?
I mean, first game back, you got to get the rust off, and got to, he's not getting as many carries, obviously, as like Sony was. But our run game really wasn't that good against the Niners, and that's kind of what killed us a little bit as well. Because we couldn't get it done. We needed one first down with like like a minute 50 left or something like that, and we ran the ball and we couldn't get the first down. It was like 3rd and 4 or something like that, and we couldn't get it. They stopped us and they had a timeout, so they called a timeout right after it. And I even asked my wife when the game was happening, I was like, would you run the ball or would you throw it? Like, you save them a timeout if it's an incomplete pass, but you get the first down, the game's over. And she was like, well, I would run it. And I was like, not me, man. I would throw it. Like,
Okay.
we should have thrown it.
Here's the argument for this. Like, I would have thrown it. This is my argument. You have Sony Michel and Cam Akers in the back. They're decent runners, not top tier. Then receiving, you have Cooper Kupp, best receiver in the NFL this year, and Odell Beckham, who has really stepped up since he came over to the Rams. And then you have Matt Stafford throwing the ball, who's one of the most accurate quarterbacks of all time. Like, why would you not throw on a 3rd and 4?
Yeah.
Like, quick slant, Cooper Kupp, and if Cooper Kupp's not open, you got the quick slant to Odell, done. Game over. Like, that does not make sense to me. I can't compute that they would hand the ball off to Sony Michel and be like, run the ball. What? He's not your best player. Why are you not involving your best player to win a game? Unless you didn't really care to win the game.
Yeah. And I think that might have been a big part too. If it was a playoff game, maybe, McVay throws it and goes a little bit more risky. I don't know. But, we'll see. The Niners have won 6 straight against us. So let's bring up the games, the playoff games. We'll break down each one. We'll pick a lock for each one. For that, why is my
for each game?
Cursor? There it is. Huh?
Yeah, we're gonna lock every game. Every game.
No,
I was like, that doesn't make sense. That's what you just said.
that's not what I said.
It
You
is.
just said pick a lock for each game.
Don't tell me what I said.
I'm gonna tell you how to live your life. Oh, I just want to let you guys know though that, by the way, Steph Curry is now the favorite to win the MVP in the NBA. So we're gonna have to talk about it sooner or later.
Quick little thing. Well, I mean, once football season's over, it's mostly basketball talk going forward. So that and some hockey too. So, but all right. So Saturday, the first game, the 2:30 game is the Raiders and the Bengals.
That 2:30 Eastern or 2:30 Mountain?
Probably Eastern.
2:30
means 12:30 our time. Okay.
Yeah. So I think a lot to do with who the Raiders would play kind of determined if they were going to end in a tie or not as well. I don't think the Raiders really wanted to play the Chiefs in the first round because if it ended in a tie, that's what would have happened.
Yeah.
But since it's your team and you're the NFL picking champion, we'll let you start us off.
So the Bengals beat the shit out of the Raiders. I think it was 32-13 earlier this year. It was not a pretty game. Joe Mixon went off. They shut down Jamar Chase, which was nice, but Joe Mixon freaking went off. It's hard because it's really difficult to beat a team twice in a year. It really is. It's hard to beat them twice in a year. It's hard to beat them 3 times in a year, like last year when the Saints had beat the Bucs twice and then had to face them in the playoffs. Of course, they're going to lose. Neither team really has a ton of experience in the playoffs. Like, this is Derek Carr's first playoff game, Josh Jacobs' first playoff game. The only one that actually has any experience is Deshaun Jackson, and he's been kind of non-existent on the offense. Like, I think he's caught 6 total passes for the Raiders all year. And the Bengals have the last time that they won a playoff game was prior to text messaging existing.
Whoa, that's a lie. Carson Palmer won a playoff game.
No, he did not.
What?
Not with the Bengals.
Oh my God. What?
The last time the Bengals won a playoff game was in 1991, and text messaging was introduced in 1992.
You can.
That's how.
92.
Yeah, the first text message was sent in 1992.
What? I was 1 year old.
On a pager. I was 10. Shut up.
Yeah, I had a pager before I had a cell phone. Call me.
Yeah,
I know.
I got to stick with my team. They're on a hot streak. They're on a 4-game win streak, and they've beat teams that they weren't supposed to beat. They were like 7-point underdogs to the Colts. They were 5-point underdogs to the Chargers. You know, they beat teams they're not supposed to beat. They were actually underdogs against the Broncos.
Yes.
That makes no sense.
With Drew Lock at quarterback.
Yeah. They were 3-point underdogs to the Broncos. So they're going into this game 7-point underdogs again. It's 7.5 points. I think they actually get it done. I don't think they're going to get past the wild card round. Like, they're not going to win the divisional round because they're going to end up with most likely the Titans, and that's going to be very, very, very difficult. But I'm going to take the Raiders on this one.
Alrighty. Laurie.
It's a tough one, man. And because I like pretty much everything you said, a lot of it goes back to the last game for me with the Raiders, though. If they play the way they played, but they play with sloppy defense when they need to play good defense, they will lose this game. And the Bengals did beat the Kansas City Chiefs, which was very impressive. Weird stat that Jamar Chase had more receiving yards than Patrick Mahomes on the Chiefs had throwing yards. But yeah, I don't think the Bengals win by 7, but I think the Bengals win this game.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's just too much firepower that the Bengals have that they can use. So I'm going to go with the Bengals as well. And, I just really like the Joe Burrow Chase connection. They got it going on right now. And so we'll see if the Raiders can shut them down again. But then again, like you said, if you shut down Chase, that opens up Nixon and other people. But it's all that's going to be about how good the Raiders defense can get to Joe Burrow. Like, if they put the pressure on him, I mean, that's any quarterback, I guess. But, like, if they're able to, put the pressure on him, he's young, never been in a playoff, and Derek Carr hasn't either. But I still think.
I think goes both on that, though. If the Raiders' offense becomes stagnant again, it's a wrap. Bengals will eat it up.
That's kind of what I wanted to bring up is the big thing the Raiders do, and they've done it for the past, 5 years, ever since their last time they went to the playoffs, is they'll get a lead early, and then they become super conservative. It's like run 3 times, punt the ball, run 3 times, punt the ball. And that's keeping your defense on the field way too much. They need to extend the drives. They need to just blow them out of the damn water. Stop being conservative.
Agreed.
Like that, they started doing it in the third quarter in the Chargers game. And I was saying that to my wife, I'm like, why are they being conservative? Put their foot on their throat, knock it off. And this is playoff football. You can't go conservative.
No.
Can't do it. You need to put your foot on their throat. And I think if the Raiders come out firing like they have been, they're going to take an early lead, and it's going to determine if they go conservative or if they actually keep pushing as to whether or not they win this game.
When was the Raiders' last playoff win?
Raiders' last playoff win?
Was it like the Super Bowl? The Super Bowl year?
2002, yeah.
So both teams are due for a win in the playoffs?
Yep, absolutely.
Football pretty much got the same amount of experience in the playoffs as well. None.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's whoever's got the ice in their veins the best. So
Daniel Carlson.
Yeah.
That's going to be the key factor in that entire game because he has missed on the road, and Cincinnati. No, they didn't play in Cincinnati this year. They played in Vegas. So it's going to be, can Carlson do it? And the temperatures are going to be a big issue too, because kickoff, it's 24 degrees.
There you go.
Good football.
That usually does play a factor as well, and I think that'll play a factor in this the next game on Saturday, which is the Patriots and the Bills. So I'll start off this time since I ended on the last one. Are the Patriots going to throw the ball more than 3 times? That is the question. The question of the day.
If they do, they lose.
If it's who knows?
Yeah, and I was gonna say if it's bad weather and it snows, being in Buffalo, who knows? Buffalo kind of coming on stronger here towards the end of the season. They still are kind of like up and down. Do I trust Mac Jones more or Josh Allen? And especially playing in the type of weather. Josh Allen at least has experience with the playoffs last year and going deep into the playoffs. But that Patriot defense is pretty stout as well. I think this is going to be a really good game, and it's going to be a tough game. Gosh, it's almost like a coin flip, but I'm gonna go with the Bills. I'll go with the Bills and see how it pans out, but it really could be just a coin flip.
So I'll go second, so Larry can go last and go first on the next one. You said you talked about the Patriots defense, but the last time they played, Josh Allen shredded that defense.
Yeah, and they were playing in Buffalo, right?
Yeah. He shredded that defense, like destroyed that defense. I think the score was 38-13.
Yeah.
Like he went off. Josh Allen has been really up and down and really wishy-washy this year. Like he'll have games where he throws 4 touchdowns, and then he'll have a game where he throws 4 picks. So we don't know which Josh Allen we're going to get, but I really think with having the experience that he has over Mac Jones' experience, I mean, you got Bill Belichick's experience on the Patriots, but he doesn't have the same team that he's always had. And Mac Jones is no Tom Brady. Mac Jones is good. He's better than I expected, but he's no Tom Brady. I have to go with the Bills on this one.
To add on, a defensive point, the Bills defense has only given up 12 touchdowns all year long. They have the 2 best safeties in the NFL on that team. I don't know if it's going to be a lot of points are going to be scored. Like you said, the last game points were being thrown out like a free at an Oprah Winfrey show. But the first time they met up, there was 20 total points scored. I think a lot of this game comes down to defense, and I believe the Bills have the better defense simply because Mac Jones is a rookie. He may not be playing like a rookie, but he isn't, he's not, you don't know if he's built for it. I mean, yeah, sure. You played at Alabama, you've been in the spotlight before. This is the big leagues. So I think the Bills defense is going to come out, and I think the Bills win.
The Bills. All right. Bill.
Bill Nye, the science guy.
So Sunday matchup, first one, or no, not first one. Let's go with first one. I don't know why it has it out of order like that. The first one is the Eagles and the Bucks. So Laurie, you get to start.
Bucks, locking it.
He's gonna lock that in.
I mean, it's a scary lock, honestly, because of the simple fact of teams this year that shouldn't have beat the Bucks have beaten the Bucks.
Washington.
Yeah. I mean, straight up though. Like, and this is the second time. Like, well, they beat Washington last year in the playoffs, but I mean, for some reason, these teams that are not very good seem to have the Bucks number. They're not playing like they were playing last year. Now it's the playoffs. You're in a wild card spot. Can that defense turn around and play like the Super Bowl defense they had last year in playoff defense? Can their offense start moving the ball more consistently? Because Tom Brady's been throwing the ball a lot this year. He leads the NFL in all major passing categories. Strong case we made for MVP. But the Eagles, there's just no way they win this game. It's just Yeah, locking it in with the Bucks.
All right, Chris.
No, it's you.
Oh, me? Okay, so me, I'm going with the Bucks as well. I think they got lucky with moving up to the number 2 to play the Eagles. I know the Eagles have gotten hot here towards the end of the season, but I think Tom Brady, you're at least guaranteed always one playoff win with Tom Brady. I don't know if they'll make it out of the next round, but they'll always make it out of the first round.
If Brady loses this game, it's the first time he's ever lost in the first round.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he always makes it out of the first round.
So I'm going to say right now the X factor in this game is not a quarterback. It's not an offensive player. The X factor in this game is Fletcher Cox. If he can destroy that Buccaneers offensive line and get to Brady and scare the shit out of Brady, it's going to be a different game than what we're expecting. It's not going to be Tom Brady poised because Fletcher Cox, that dude is one of the meanest defensive tackles in the entire league. And if he can actually have a high game, what's up?
Vita Vea on the other side.
Yeah, but Vita Vea is nowhere near as scary as Fletcher Cox.
Following when Cox gets his tooth knocked out and smiles about it.
Yeah. This one's tough because the Eagles could actually take this game. They're on a tear. They have a good team. But I did see a funny stat about the Eagles. So Jalen Reagor, who was a rookie last year, who I thought was going to get Rookie of the Year last year, but he got injured like second game. Because, I mean, the dude looked like he was a beast. This year, he's trash. He has less yards than Henry Ruggs. Henry Ruggs finished the season going to jail with 462 yards. Jalen Reagor in 17 games has 269 receiving yards. How terrible is that?
Sweet.
Most of that came in one game. He had 160 yards in one game.
I guess it's not too weird. Derrick Henry's still in the top 5 for rushing this year.
Yeah, he's been out half the season. But I have to go with you guys on this one, and I have to take the Bucks.
The Bucks. All right.
No choice there.
All right. The next game after that is the 49ers and the Cowboys. So you get to start, Chris.
I'm going to laugh my ass off when this happens because I'm locking this one in as the 49ers. I think they have the defense 49ers. To stop. They have the defense to stop the Cowboys, and Dak Prescott is way too cocky for his own good. Same with Ezekiel Elliott. They're both amazingly talented players in the NFL. Don't get me wrong. But the 49ers have the team to stop them. They have the team to stop Amari Cooper. They have the backs to stop CeeDee Lamb. They have the interior defense to stop Zeke Elliott. And they have the pass rushers to get at Dak Prescott. This is going to be a very defensive game. It's going to be a low-scoring game because the defenses are both going to step up. But I think in the end, it's going to be like a 3-point game, but the Niners take it.
All right. Who's next?
Larry.
I'm taking the Niners. Just simply because they have playoff experience. They have Super Bowl experience. And I think, honestly, the 49ers are the scariest team in the NFC playoffs right now. I do not think that there's it's tough to say this, and you might get some shit for it, but I think the 49ers are the best team in the NFC playoffs right now. Just simply because they've been underdogs, but their defense is a top 10 defense. When Garoppolo's on, he's on. They have decent receiving core. They have a deep, their whole offense is very well balanced. That I think nobody really wants to meet up with the Niners in the playoffs. To be honest, I think the Niners are going to walk all over Dallas.
Fair enough. I'm sorry, David. I'm sorry, Brian, in advance if they do listen to this episode. But yeah, I'm going with the Niners as well. I have to disagree a little bit with Larry about Jimmy G. I'm tired of hearing all the crap about him. He was losing the game for the Niners in the Rams game, and then in the second half, they like Shanahan basically was like, "All right, you were losing the game for us. We're going to go back to what we do, which is running the ball." And they ran the ball down our throat the second half, which opened up passes for Jimmy G. But Jimmy G just having to do it on his own cannot cut it. If he's got to win the game on his own, like he did in the first half against the Rams, they're going to be down by 17 points like they were against the Rams. Like that's how much you cannot rely on Jimmy G. And I'm sorry. I just hate that everyone is like in love with him and just loves like
He's
what he's doing. And they,
cute.
huh?
He's cute.
He's cute. He's a cute boy.
Cute, that's why. Yeah.
I make him my bitch.
Yeah, big facts. See,
So
with your Jimmy G thing, I disagree with he can't win games on his own because he has won games on his own. The problem with him is you don't know who you're getting at quarterback because, like you said in that Rams game, was playing like ass. They go back to running the ball, opens up passes for him. But there's been other games where they can't run the ball, and Jimmy's got to move the ball down the field. He's got to put up points. So you just don't know who you're going to get, and that's the big thing with my opinion on Garoppolo is I don't think he's a top tier quarterback by any means. But if he plays knowing he's got to win, it's a different mindset where I think that's the X factors. It's can Jimmy G get out of Jimmy G's way?
Let's just throw this out there. The 49ers have one thing the Cowboys don't. George motherfucking Kittle.
that is true.
Right.
He is an X factor, that's for sure. But more so than George Kittle, I'm gonna say it, and I'm sure you guys will agree. Deebo Samuel.
Deebo has been good this year.
He's been very underrated, and he's been tearing it out. They even have him like run the ball as running back, and he scores pretty good touchdowns. And Jimmy G again was playing so crappy that in the second half they gave the ball to Deebo, and Deebo threw a touchdown because Jimmy G couldn't. So I don't want to hear it.
Hey man, you got to put up points. How you got to put up points? Deebo's like Cordell Patterson of the Falcons. They're both very underrated this year. Those guys are doing things for teams like you got Dallas. I'm not going to discredit Dallas wide receivers and their offense because let's be honest, they are the number one offense in the NFL for a reason. But Deebo Samuel is he's the Cooper Kupp of the 49ers. The only thing he does that Kupp doesn't do is run the ball consistently and throw a touchdown pass. But Deebo Samuel, with what he's able to do with the ball in his hands, is it's spectacular to watch. It's amazing.
And having the speedy guy, Brandon Ayuk, on the other side, who's solid hands, and again, underrated.
He's been playing
like
here's what too.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I'm going to shut down Deebo Samuel. Well, I've got George Kittle and Brandon Ayuk open.
Yeah, exactly. So the Sunday night game will be the Steelers and the Chiefs. And then who starts this one?
You do.
Me? Well, I am going to lock in the Chiefs on this one. I think the Chiefs are going to demolish the Steelers. The Steelers are not going to ride off into the sunset. Big Ben is not going to pull a Peyton Manning. I'm sorry. He's not going to ride off into the sunset on his horse with a Lombardi. It's not happening. I think it's going to be a pretty easy game, to be honest. I don't even think it'll be close, like, at all. So I think the Steelers got pretty lucky to get in. So demolish.
I love it. That's great.
All right, so my pick. The Steelers had a rough go this year. They had a lot of injuries, but they have a rookie running back that has really stepped up, shown who he really is. Najee Harris, the dude's a beast. TJ Watt is definitely a beast. I think they get Minka back and Joe Hayden back for this game. So that's going to put some pressure on Mahomes because Minka can cover Tyreek Hill. The X factor that I hate saying is Travis Kelce. Like, who the hell is going to cover Travis Kelce? There's nobody in the league that can cover Travis Kelce. And I hate that man. I hate him. I hate him. I hate him. I want to punch him in the damn throat if I ever see him. Just because I'm a Raiders fan, I've had to deal with him for the last 5 years. Like, I hate him. Can't even, like, the Steelers have a chance if the refs lean their way. Maybe they want to see Big Ben right off into the sunset. But the Chiefs are just too much to overcome, man.
So I know we're not doing it, but upset, huge upset, mainly because I think the NFL is rigged. I think professional sports are rigged. I really do. Like and we can get into that off the air. But I think that he then goes to the Super Bowl. I mean, would it really, honestly, would it surprise you for him to go to the Super Bowl? If he gets past the Chiefs, who's really there to stop the Titans? You don't know what Titans team you're getting. Yes, they're playing great. They're 11-5. They started figuring out how to run the ball. But at the end of the day, Ben Roethlisberger has had a very good career. He shouldn't have beat the Browns, shouldn't have beat the Ravens. They're like the Raiders. They're beating teams they shouldn't beat. I think the Chiefs can pull this off. God damn it. The Steelers pull this off. I do agree with everything you said with the Chiefs. I mean, they're a tough team to overcome. Who guards Travis Kelce? It's sixes. You either shut down Tyreek, you shut down Kelce. It's hard to shut them both down. And if they do, good on you. But they don't have anybody in the linebacking position. You'll have to put a safety on Kelce. But no, I do think the Steelers pull an upset. I think they pull this off, last minute field goal, and he pulls a Jared Allen on a horse and retires and has a trophy in his hand.
All right,
Find a horse that can hold his big ass.
All right, last game is the Monday night game, the Rams and the Cardinals.
Larry.
DeAndre Hopkins back.
Is he? I don't know. I haven't heard.
I know he was out for the rest of the season, and it was to hopefully play in the playoffs. If he's back, this game becomes a lot closer, but the Rams win this game. And I know Chris said it earlier a couple weeks ago that said the Cardinals will never win another game. They did win one more game out of the last 5. But they're going to lose this game. And I hate to say it, but if the Rams, same thing. If their team just shits the bed and lets the Cardinals back in it, who knows? But I think from the jump, the Rams are going to go on a tear and show the NFC why they are where they are.
Yeah. Matt?
Oh, well. You're going to go with the Rams, obviously.
Obviously, you're going to go with the Rams.
Yeah. Hopefully, playoff football kind of turns it around. I remember when the Rams went on their Super Bowl run, our defense didn't play that well through the regular season. And then the playoffs, they just stepped up and shut down everyone all the way up to the Patriots. I mean, even the Patriots in the Super Bowl, I felt like our defense played amazing. It was our offense that couldn't put up any points. So if our defense shows up like that again, it's over because our offense can put up points with Stafford now. So, and I feel like with the Cardinals, Murray is he's been on a downhill ever since he came back from his injury, and then not having a security blanket with Hopkins, the defense not having JJ Watt anymore, it's just everything is going against them. So yeah, I think the Rams take it.
Yeah. The Cardinals have been shit towards the end of the season, and I was wrong. They won one game, but they barely won that game. They lost to teams that they should have beat, supposedly, but no, the Rams take this all day long. Like I think Aaron Donald is going to absolutely crush Kyler Murray, and Jalen Ramsey and Eric Weddle are going to team up on freaking DeAndre Hopkins and shut his ass down if he does play. Because outside of DeAndre, who do they got? AJ Green and Christian Kirk.
Yeah,
like AJ Green has looked washed up.
Zach Ertz, dude.
James Conner's out still because he's hurt. So who do they have for a running back? Kyler Murray.
Well, you saying Aaron Donald was going to get to Kyler Murray the last time they played, it was true. He sacked him a couple times, and the one was just hilarious. Yeah, 3 times.
And how many times did I say he was going to sack him?
Yeah, 3. And the one sack, it was hilarious because like he went up to sack him, and Kyler Murray literally, instead of taking the hit, just went down. As soon as he saw him coming, he just went down and was just like, nope, I'm done. And like he was like, I'm not getting hit hard by Aaron Donald. He was just like, nope, don't want any of that.
So I'll re-up, like, you know how I said last time he was going to get 3 sacks, and he got 3 sacks. I'm going to say him and Von Miller both get 2.5 sacks on Kyler Murray.
Nice. Yeah, Von Miller's been stepping up. He's had 1 sack at least in each of the last 3 games, I think. So he's been stepping up too for us.
So I just looked up about Hopkins. So he did tear his MCL back in week 14. 6-week timeline to recover. So the only way Hopkins comes back is if the Cardinals make the championship game and or Super Bowl.
Yeah, so the odds are not in their favor with that, and they're just not the same team as they were when they were dominating at the beginning of the season. So I think their confidence is shattered, especially losing to the Seahawks at the end of the season. I mean, I know it's a division game, but come on. So, alrighty, awesome. Well, those are our playoff picks. We'll see how they turn out, and we'll still keep a score like we do for the regular season. But I think that kind of wraps everything up for us. Playoffs is going to be a major topic, and closer towards the Super Bowl, we can kind of talk about the awards, like MVP and Rookie of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year, all that stuff. So we'll get into that closer. Then we'll be focusing more, like I said, on basketball and everything going on with that. So it'll be good. We'll have a lot of topics to keep us busy. But yeah, as always, we appreciate the listens and the views. Share it. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Anchor, any major podcast listening areas. You can go on YouTube and look at our handsome mugs and look at Chris's belt if you want to. You can.
Will you discount double check it for me?
Yeah. Nice. And then, of course, you can comment on our Facebook page, Sports Harder Podcast. And we'll always give a shout out. And we keep we put major updates on there when they happen. Larry probably knew about the Broncos coach being fired before I posted it, but as soon as I posted it, like a minute later, he's like liking it. He's just like, yeah.
I would like it and unlike it to like it again, so there's multiple notifications of
So as always, we end with our hashtags. So, hashtag Earl Thomas still not signed. Hey, Eric Weddle.
Eric Weddle is.
Eric Weddle come on. If Eric Weddle can get signed, Earl Thomas, get your ass on the field somehow. So Earl Thomas still not signed. And then, of course, hashtag, we're going to keep it going until it actually happens. Coop for MVP. So Coop for MVP. And then Larry's
30.
hashtag 30 for 30 Florida Gators. Is that what it is? 30 for 30 Florida Gators. I always forget it. Like when I'm typing it up, I'm just like, I know it's 30 for 30, but I don't know what it's for.
Earl Thomas just signed with the Los Angeles Rams. How crazy would that be?
That would be nuts. Like,
I'm fine. I don't want him as a Raider, so.
There you go. Or he's going to go to the Cowboys like he wanted. So, especially now that they're in the playoffs. But, all right. Appreciate it, guys. And until next time, we will catch you guys on the flip side.
Later.
Peace.